Hey, Brennan, I think you're good to go.
Great. Thank you so much. Uh, Welcome, everyone. I hope you are safe and well wherever you are. Um, Today, we are going to talk a little bit about the Master of Arts in International Humanitarian Action at Fordham University. The First, I want to talk a little bit about the Institute and then the people in the room and then the masters itself and the courses. So the Institute of International Humanitarian Affairs was founded 25 years ago now, um, really to act as a bridge between the humanitarian sector and academia. And we do that mostly through training programs, both at the graduate, professional, and undergraduate level. And this goes back to our first course, the International Diploma in Humanitarian Assistance, which this year will take place in Bangkok in Thailand and Pretoria in South Africa. And that was founded, actually, we're coming on its 30th year this next year. And from that, we created other programs like the Mental Health and Complex Emergencies course and Humanitarian Negotiations, Forced Migration, etc. At every case, it's always been our trainings have been rooted in praxis. We want it to be as real as possible and as useful to you as humanitarian professionals as possible. And that's where the design of the Master of Arts in International Humanitarian Action comes from, is it's rooted in the professionals themselves and the expertise themselves. Other than training, the Institute also publishes books, has research areas, has hosts conferences and webinars, podcasts. We're just coming into our third podcast, the design of that now, and exhibitions, etc. We are an intrinsic part of the university. We report directly to the provost of the university and work most closely with the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. And so we marry the academic rigor of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences and bring in experienced humanitarian professionals to teach our courses. I'm joined today by a number of people from our core team. Again, my name is Brendan Cahill. I'm the director of the Institute. Ruth Makwana is our Helen Hamlin Senior Fellow, and she's the director of graduate programs at the Institute. Lily Egan is our communications officer, and Luciani De Leon is our program officer. And each one of these people will play a part in your application and your questions. So we see this as a team and we react as a team, and that will come out later in our Q&A. Martine Vanderdoes is our Helen Hamlin Humanitarian Fellow and has been a long-term tutor and teacher and course developer for us as well. And I don't see her on the call, but if she is, I welcome her as well.
I'm on the call, Bren.
Martine is here.
Hi.
Um, so why an MA in International Humanitarian Action? Really, I want to talk first about the modality, the faculty, and the stackability of it. So our faculty, as I noted, are humanitarian professionals, and these are four of them: Ann Edgerton, Florian Rossesberger, Brian Kelly, and Pierrette Quintiliani. Each of them have experience, long experience in each of their areas, and so they can bring that own experience to their own coursework. The modality is fully online, and asynchronous. So in this way, it can appeal to a global audience, and you do not have to come to the United States. You do not have to find an apartment in New York. We have a master's, another master's, the Master of Science in Humanitarian Studies, that is residential and is in person. And I would urge you to look at that program as well. But this is fully online. The last aspect of the MIHA is its stackability. It's made up of 3 advanced certificates. The first, humanitarian operations, the second, disaster management, and the last, humanitarian leadership. In each, there are 3 classes that make up that advanced certificate. So you can start with one class, and if you enjoy the type of education you're having, you can then go on and complete that advanced certificate. Once you have that advanced certificate, you could go on to another advanced certificate and complete the third one. And then there's a culmination at the very end of those 3. So I'm going to turn over to Ruth Makwana for the next slides, who can tell you about those key elements. Ruth.
Thank you so much, Brendan. Thank you so much, Brendan. Again, my name is Ruth Mukwana, and I work with the rest of the team as the Director of Graduate Humanitarian Studies. And again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. So really the key elements of the MIHA that I'd like to re-emphasize, because Brendan has already mentioned them as well. One of those is global accessibility. The program is fully online. It is an asynchronous program, which means that you are not expected to attend weekly lessons, although some professors will offer that option as as an option, but really it's an asynchronous program. You can take it from wherever you were. It doesn't matter if you travel. You're able to really do it 100% online and at wherever location and at your own pace. And which this means that a lot of our students are professionals. So that allows them to really continue to work as they also attain their education goals. Then there is the modular structure of it. The master's is really broken down into 3 certificates. And this really means that, again, you can complete these certificates at your own pace. You can elect to take 1 certificate, but to be able to get the master's itself, you have to complete these 3 certificates and a capstone. But again, you can do them at your own pace, which again gives you another level of flexibility. Brennan has talked about the academic rigor that Fordham offers students, both in terms of mastery of pedagogy, but also from a practitioner point of view. So all of our professors, humanitarian practitioners, who some of them are still actually working in the sector, either with United Nations organizations or nonprofits, and at the same time they are teaching, or they are retired professors who worked for years in the humanitarian field. Comparatively, it is a much more affordable, lower cost for an education. And this again is another point that we want to emphasize in comparison to some of our in-person programs. And again, of course, if you're studying at Fordham in New York, that comes with an additional price point in terms of the cost of living. And then all of our students will join our global network of alumni. The Institute has been in existence for over 20 years, and it's been delivering education programs for over 20 years. So we do have quite an extensive alumni network, but we also have partnerships here in New York, but also across the world, at the regional level and at national level. So our students also do get to benefit from the Institute's network. So where do our students end up? So in addition to the masters, we do have the Masters of Science in Humanitarian Studies, and we do have a bachelor's as well. And so based on these other programs that we've been running for several years, this is how we know where our students end up. So our master's students really end up working in field operations. And what do I mean by field operations? It's basically working at the country level, whether, in a refugee situation, whether responding to internally displaced people or disasters. They end up in policy roles, academia, think tanks, governments, bilateral intergovernmental organizations such as the UN, the EU, private sector, foundations, and nonprofits, both domestic nonprofits, national NGOs, and international NGOs. And I'll hand over to my colleague Luciani to continue.
Thank you, Ruth. So as mentioned before, the MIHA is a buildable degree. It's made up of 3 specific certificates and then in the end, 1 capstone. This upcoming fall, 2026, we will have 3 courses that are part of the first certificate, Humanitarian Operations. And then the second certificate will begin spring 2027. These are the options of courses that you are able to take. Each certificate, you just need to take 3 courses. And then in the end, if you begin in fall 2026, the last certificate is humanitarian leadership, which is composed of these 3 specific courses. So these are the rates for the tuition for the MIHA program and the certificates. Each individual course for credit is $1,950. If you are interested in taking a MIHA course, but you're not interested in being a matriculated student, in pursuing a degree or a certificate, the 0 credit fee is $1,076, but it is important to note that if you take a MIHA course for 0 credit and in the future decide that you do want to pursue the MIHA degree or a specific certificate, you will not be able to use that course. So it's important to think about what you would like to do in regards to being a matriculated student or just trying out a course. Each advanced certificate, because it is made up of 3 courses, is $5,850. And then in the end, that totals to $19,500 for the complete MIHA program. This just serves as a reminder that we do review each application holistically. We look at the full application, and in the end, the decision will be communicated directly from the Office of Admissions via email. So it's important to constantly check your email for any updates. So for the application requirements, we do expect incoming students to have a GPA of 3.0 or higher based on a 4.0 scale. We do require academic transcripts from each and every institution higher education institution that you have attended, a resume, a statement of intent, and a writing sample. This writing sample is optional for the certificate application. And standardized test scores, the GRE is not required, but depending on where you went for your undergrad, you may be required to provide an English test and 2 letters of recommendation. So these are the requirements for the MIHA and the certificates. As I mentioned, the writing sample is optional for the certificates. If you are interested in applying for the individual courses first for credit, the only requirement is a resume and your academic transcripts. And in the future, if you are interested in applying for the certificate or MIHA, you will need to do an application for that.
Thanks, Luciani, and thank you, Ruth. At this time, we'll open it up to questions because it's a lot of information to process for everyone. Before we go into the questions, though, I do want to reemphasize again, my email is here on this slide, but Lily will be sharing, all of our information. We work very closely with each other, and so a question to one of us generally will be reviewed by all of us. We each have our own specialization. Luciani will really look at admissions and the finance area. Ruth is the overall direction of the graduate program. But if you feel that you're not getting an answer at all, please reach out to any of us and we can solve that. So there are a number of questions in the chat. There are a number of questions from Kathy in the chat. And so I'm happy to, take the start at these. Her first question is, what is the time limit to complete the certificates in the capstone? So New York State gives a time limit of 5 years from the beginning, from when you matriculate to when you end. But remember that these are stackable. So the time starts when when you're accepted into the certain program. So you could take a class and then apply that into the master's after you apply to the master's, if that makes sense to you, Kathy. So, but ultimately it's 5 years. You can do it in as short as 3 semesters. So a year, a year and a half, basically. Greetings from James. Hello to you, James. Kathy, how does the program match with the IDHA? Will be a lot of repeat information for me if you already did it. So within the IDHA, the thing to know about the IDHA is it's an intensive residential 4-week program. And there's a lot of different subjects that are covered in the IDHA, but they're covered in 2-hour, 3-hour lectures. This gives us an opportunity to dig much deeper into those subjects. So you might get a 3-hour lecture in the IDHA on migration, but here you're getting an entire semester on it, or the same as human rights, etc. So it matches well, but that IDHA gives you a license to operate, right? It's a primer. It's a way for everyone who's on that program to share their experiences about the current state of the humanitarian sector. We're here within the advanced certificates, you're going to be digging much deeper. There is an alumni network, and we're working on improving that as well. And that's both for networking amongst yourselves and with us. I think we already discussed the 3 certificate programs, operations, leadership, and disaster response. Are there opportunities to collaborate with classmates? Yeah, that really, Kathy, has been has been the way we operate from the beginning, is the sharing of experiences and working together. And even in the modality of online, there are ways in which you can come together. So in our mental health and complex emergencies course, which has been very, very popular, for 20 odd years, these are students that are drawn from, at any one time, 50, 60 nationalities, and they're broken into groups. They form their own community without ever meeting each other in person, right? So, with the modality of online education, it's just different from being in the classroom together. This webinar is different from if we were having a face-to-face meeting. But technology allows, and our technology allows more and more ways of working in that way. And I think it will only get better and better. But the mental health program is a great example of a real community that has come out solely from online. And I don't know, Ruth, if you want to add to that, from the academic side, or Martine.
Yeah, online learning is definitely, as you're saying, Brendan, always going to be different from in-person learning. Definitely different structures, sorry, different professors structure their courses differently. But I know that for the MIHA, quite a few professors, similar to the mental health class, are looking at ways to offer optional weekly meetings with students. So for those students who will take that option, they'll be able to meet other students. And definitely these individual projects, but there are also opportunities to work on projects together. But again, we have to remain true to the asynchronous nature of the program, because one of the things that is attractive about this program is the fact that students are really completing it at their own time and at their own pace.
Martine, do you have anything to add there?
No, nothing to add. I think, yeah, the IDHA, as you said, really gives you an opportunity to have a taste of the different topics. And the MIA really is to dig deeper and really have a thorough understanding of topics that are also addressed on the IDHA.
Great, thank you. James, I want to understand your question a little bit better. Was your question more, are you a U.S. military veteran? Is that it? And so we do work. Okay, I understand. We work well with Fordham's. Fordham is a very strong proponent of the Yellow Ribbon program for the military, and we have had a large number of military who have taken our programs over the years, both at the graduate and the undergraduate level. So, in your specific case, how we navigate that, we will work closely with the Office of Veteran Affairs to do so. So, when you're ready, reach out. Okay. Thank you so much. Those are the questions that are on the chat, but we can open this up to anyone right now who wants to speak live. But again, if there are no further questions right now, just remember that there's always opportunities to ask those questions later. So, Kathy, I know that it's tumbling out of you right now, all of these different questions about it, but there may be more that come in an hour. And so what I'm saying is ask these questions to us at any time, and we're happy to reach out. As I mentioned, Lily is sharing the information on where you can apply, but we take this team approach to all the applications and information. Okay. The last one is Terrence says, will the IDHA be credited to the MIHA? It is not. And thanks for that question. The IDHA does not get credited because this is a fully online master's. You can use that IDHA towards the MSHS, which is the in-person. Okay. If there are no other questions, yep, Kathy, sure.
Okay. I was just curious if the master's program predominantly attracts people more sort of junior in their careers or mid-level changers, or a variety or?
I think it's well, I mean, again, I'm happy to especially point to Martine, uh, who is, this is the second iteration of the MIHA program. And Martine, who's an incredibly experienced aid professional, is a graduate of the first iteration of that, right? And took it when she was experienced. I believe so. It's a brand new program, this new online MIHA, and so we'll have to see what it is. But the target audience is a global experienced one, not the beginning of the career.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe Brendan, to add to that.
Yeah, please, Martine.
So I took the IDHA or the MIHA when I had about 12 years of working experience in the sector. And the people who were studying at the same time at the MIHA as I was were in similar positions or even more experienced. But there were also people who are a little bit more at the beginning of their career. But I would say on average, there were people that were more experienced than no experience.
Is that satisfactory, Kathy?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. That's
Sure.
very helpful.
I just
Okay.
want to touch upon our alumni network. I really do recommend following us on our social media channels, which I have listed in the comments section, especially our LinkedIn. Sometimes we'll repost other posts from alumni, and on Instagram, for example, you can see previous programs we've done, including the IDHA. And if you ever want to get in touch with an alumni, I definitely recommend doing so on using LinkedIn. But yeah, feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn if there's anyone specific you want to get in touch with or connect with. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, just to sum up, fully online, fully stackable. You do it at your own pace. It's for us, we want it to be as competitive as possible in terms of the price. So that's competitive with other humanitarian graduate programs throughout the world. And we take a team approach and I would say a praxis approach to our education. So if you have any questions at any time, please reach out to us. And we look forward to seeing you in the program. Thanks so much.